What's going on, James, the Spirit Halloween fan? How you doing? We just started this live like 30 seconds ago, so we're kind of just waiting for a lot of people to get here. Basically just talking about Halloween stuff, speculations, all that kind of stuff. It's been a really long time since I've done a live stream. Seems like we have 4 people now that just jumped on. I've been doing fine, been doing a lot of rearranging, moving around here pretty recently. So if you've been to a past live stream before, that's why the background might look a little bit different. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a live stream for sure, like a year, maybe, year and a half. It's good to be back though, for sure. It's been a while since I've talked to y'all. Seems like we're getting a lot more people on here than I was expecting, which is great. I know it's a little late in the evening for some people, so I apologize for that. Can y'all hear me okay? Is everything good on y'all's end? Thanks, James, I appreciate that, really. I disappeared for a while, of course, but it's really exciting to be back in the community for sure, making speculation videos again. I've noticed not a lot of haunters sort of make this content anymore. I don't know why. It's always fun to theorize for what the company's gonna do. So I'm just trying to, constantly keep making this kind of content for y'all. Even if none of it's like official stuff, just again, like theorizing, guessing what Spirit or Home Depot are gonna do, is fun. We have 9 people now. How's it going, Evan Hans? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Oh wow, we have 14 people now. This is way more than I expected at this time. But we've grown quite a bit since the last live stream for sure, so I'm very excited to talk to all the new people here now. If you're new, if you've never been to a Grim Productions live stream, it's not the most craziest thing in the world. We're not like Psychotic Circus of Savannah where we have a bunch of different things going on. We're just simply here to kind of chat, talk about different, things in the haunter community, haunter world, basically. If you guys have any current theories that you haven't seen or mentioned yet, feel free to write them down in the chat or something, and I'll, we'll elaborate on it. We'll talk about it for sure. We have a lot of people. How's it going, everyone? We have 25 people. That is really cool. So I guess, since we have a decent amount of people now, I'll go ahead and start, just I guess on a topic here. With all the speculations going on with whenever Spirit is going to release the lineup, when do you guys personally think that it's going to happen? It could be a specific day or just a specific, time of the month or something. Just give me y'all's thoughts on that, because I've gotten a lot of thoughts in the comments of some of my most recent videos, but there's a lot of people here who I haven't seen who've commented yet. So I would just like to, get a feel for y'all's thoughts. Hey, Slipknot and Halloween community, I'm doing just fine. My night is pretty chill so far, I plan to do a live stream with you guys tonight. I probably should have said something, but I didn't want, plans to kind of go bad and then not be able to. But from here on out, I'll probably try and start notifying you guys earlier in the day whenever I'm gonna do a live stream. It typically is later on in the night whenever I do one. I would not be mad if Spirit did a lake theme, because it looks like because in the first teaser on one of the papers, it looks like a Skull Lake station. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Skull was the Reaper's Island theme, actually. In 2021, I want to say it was, in the factory, the back half of the theme, they had a clipboard that had a similar skull on it, so I want to say that's probably what it was referring to. But a lake theme would be pretty cool, though, for sure. You think July 1st? Yeah, that's very possible. Personally, I'm going to say they're going to reveal something in early July. Definitely. What's up, Wyatt? How you doing, man? Good to see you here on the live stream. What props do you think will return from 2024? Does Spirit really return props in stores anymore? I feel like they, not too many at least, not like how they used to back in the day. Uh, but if there were to be any, returning props in store, hmm. Well, I would say art, but I mean, they're kind of bringing us, another art. So I don't think, they're going to return the exact same one from 2024 for sure. I could see the Corpse Bride props returning. Those are really popular. Um, I don't know. It's kind of hard because a lot of the props from 2024 really did fit that theme, so they would look weird in the subway station if they're trying to still go that route. But so I'm kind of, more going for like the licensed props. I think they would return to stores for sure. Deadly Creeper is returning. I have heard that. I have heard that he might be coming back, but I don't know if it's going to be an in-store prop or inbox only. Chances are probably inbox only. What do I think Backbend Bonnie would look like? I'm kind of visualizing a very like grotesque character. I'm really hoping, that it is some kind of grotesque character because I feel like we've gotten a lot of props recently that have really cool animation and, like the phrases are, decently scary and all that. And the concept itself is very scary, but the detail is very lackluster. And so I just feel like, we kind of need that detail to sort of emphasize the concept of the character a bit more. So I'm hoping for something very grotesque, especially like in the face area and maybe even like a specific part, on her back, I suppose, that kind of shows like this isn't the first time she's necessarily done this animation before. You know what I mean? Like almost like scars or like blood stains in like that specific area where she cracks her back would be really cool. I'm thinking next week will be it. They open in a month and a half, and I don't think they will wait till a month before to open their full lineup or to show their full lineup. Yeah, I agree for sure. Next week is definitely a possibility. I think, honestly, personally, I think they're going to reveal one more teaser before they do so. They always reveal a teaser that shows parts of the characters, not the full character, but just something to get us excited, and they still have yet to do that. So I feel like that is going to be what their next move is, and I think that can definitely come next week. And then the week after that, we could see the animatronics actually being released. I feel like it will mostly be on the 4th of July because it will mark the 3 weeks apart since all the Spirit Tears have been 3 weeks apart this year. That is true. That is a good theory. A lot of people have also been saying July 3rd, which is what kind of my last video was mainly focusing on, was the possible release on July 3rd. But either one of those 2 days could have something for sure. But yeah, a lot of people are speculating that the next thing Spirit's going to post is the full lineup. Again, I'm kind of on the boat where I think that it's going to be just another teaser and then they'll post the full lineup. Again, they kind of need something to stretch out the hype. Last year, you were shocked to not see any of the 2023 returning props in the theme. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about mainly. It's just how they'll return props, but like inbox only or like filler, but they typically won't ever have the props like in the actual setup itself anymore, I've noticed. And I can't say it's necessarily a bad thing. I do like having a full new lineup on the theme. That would be pretty cool. July 3rd or July 10th will be the lineup drop. I would be surprised if it's the 17th, though. Yeah, I could definitely see it. Again, honestly, I'm kind of leaning more towards like that July 10th date, something more in the middle of July. Kind of just feels more appropriate, in my opinion, for a full lineup drop. Do I have any animatronics around me that I can turn on? No, I don't have any current animatronics in this room. I do have another room right now, which will be kind of like the future studio room for this channel, and a couple other projects that I'll be doing live streams in, but I still am working on like the design of that room, and getting it set up, making it look nice, more studio-esque, I suppose. And that room currently does have an animatronic in it, a custom one actually that I'm working on. I'm using the base of the Blackheart animatronic from 2023, and I'm making it into my own character for my haunt for this upcoming year, which is going to be very, very exciting. So I'm very excited to sort of finish up this character I'm working on. You think Spirit will be very, very close to Home Depot? You think the leaks came before the drop? Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of people talk about that they think that Spirit is going to release theirs close to Home Depot. That's a possibility for sure. The thing about that is I'm pretty sure the two companies have no clue when they're going to release. I'm not, I don't think that they're necessarily communicating with each other or they have any kind of way of doing that or doing so. It could just be a big coincidence if they do end up doing that. Home Depot typically is very consistent with when they drop their animatronic lineups, though. It's typically always around like July 15th, 17th, I believe it was last year or something. It's always around, those dates. So maybe if Spirit is truly copying them, then that, that's a possible way for them to kind of drop it close to them. What animatronics do I have? I have a decent bit. I've never done an animatronic collection video. I've thought about doing one, but I just never have gotten to it, I guess, because I'm typically busy around October, have a lot of different things going on, besides the haunt and Halloween. But I'll try to do one this year because I won't be as busy, it'll be more focused on the haunt and Halloween. So, I have way too many to probably think about right now. Close to about 30, which I know to some of you 30 is nothing because y'all's collections are massive. But it does take me a while to sometimes remember all the props that I have. From what I heard, we're getting 6 clowns, 4 Spirit, and 2 licensed. 2 licensed. So what would those be? We have the Art, we have the Valak, and the Trick or Treat Sam, right? Isn't that one? So that's 3. I feel like I'm missing another licensed one that we might be getting. Do y'all think Bullseye is going to be a clown? Because I've seen different takes on what that character could be like. I'm really excited to see that character because of the name. Sounds really, really different to me. At first, I was kind of thinking it was going to be some kind of like cowboy western-esque character. But now I'm sort of more leaning towards the clown aspect of it, which would kind of suck in my opinion because I feel like there's a lot you could do with a name like Bullseye. Will you buy Pumpkin Nester if he's not redesigned? If he's not redesigned, will I buy him? Yeah, I'll still buy him for sure. I do own the old Pumpkin Nester, and I do plan on buying the new Pumpkin Nester for 2 reasons. First off, my old model, which I just bought like a couple months back, right? His mouth doesn't move at all, and he has a lot of rips in his, just his latex. So, it would be nice to have a fully functional, perfect condition Pumpkin Nester. And so I can do a comparison video for you guys as well. I would love to do, I've never done a comparison video before, so I would love to do one for y'all on Pumpkin Nester, especially because I feel like this channel in particular, I probably have the most Pumpkin Nester theory videos out of any other channel. So I kind of feel like it's only right for me to, do a comparison between the two. If you guys have been with me for long enough to know all those Pumpkin Nester videos I've uploaded. You want to turn your previous Halloween costumes into animatronics, but didn't entirely get to it. How could you do so? I may turn them into static props or working on their mechanisms in the winter. So you want to turn your costumes into animatronics. Well, typically, what I'm doing is I'm just taking like the base mechanism of like the Black Heart and I'm just applying a new costume over it, basically, and a new mask and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not changing the animation at all, but it's not a static either. I'm still using the same animation, but that's just because it works with the character I'm designing for it. I always had the Black Heart in mind whenever I designed this character. Like I wanted him to sort of resemble like the shape and animation of the Black Heart. So, maybe if you have certain costumes that you think might fit different animations, that could be an easy route for you to go with turning an animatronic into your own character. Or if you want to keep it static, that's fine too. I have no advice for messing around with mechanisms though. I'm not in that field at all. You're so bummed Bullseye is going to be a clown most likely. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm pretty bummed about that. It could be a cool clown though. That seems like a pretty unique concept either way, but it's still a clown, I keep seeing photos and videos of the Home Depot, what's it called, like the Wicked West lineup that got canceled or something. Such a cool lineup. I really wish they would have released it. I probably would have bought every single character in that lineup because I've wanted to do a Western theme haunt for so long, or like a trail or something. Um, I've kind of planned out a bunch of different things for that, but I've never really gotten around to actually doing a Western haunt. Mainly because the one I'm doing this year, the haunt I'm doing this year, I've wanted to do this one for such a long time, so I'm finally getting to it. And you guys will be seeing haunt builds on that too. I'm already filming haunt builds. I've never done haunt builds before either, so this year is going to be very different for Grim Productions for sure for the channel. I think Bullseye's going to be Clown, where he has a bullseye on his chest and a dart in his hand with darts in his eyes. Possibly, probably something around that. I could see it being a clown, like almost like Hugs, where like he has like a hanging bullseye on his chest. We do not need any clowns in a subway. I agree there. I agree. Unless it's like, you know, maybe Pennywise, because that kind of fits with like the whole like sewer underground subway. I mean, not like subway, but more like sewage. And they do seem to be kind of leaning into the more sewage side of things for this theme. Bullseye will probably be a zombie with an arrow through his eyes or head. Yeah, that would be pretty cool actually, if that was the case. Every time I hear the name Bullseye, I think of the horse from Toy Story with the same name. Yeah, I kind of thought the same, honestly, when I first saw that name. But again, that kind of, you know, alludes to the whole possible cowboy western type of character, which I would love to see. Even though that wouldn't fit in the subway theme at all. But neither does, you know, the fire demon or whatever his name is. Doesn't matter if props fit the theme anymore at this point. That's true. That's true. Spirit is kind of done away with that. Do I think Spirit should have FNAF? For sure, yeah. Especially with the movie, the sequel coming out, which is, you know, already very hyped up. I think having an actual FNAF animatronic in the theme could, you know, be very profitable for Spirit. The question is which character, you know, because, I mean, I feel like it's going to be one of three. It'll either be Freddy or Foxy or Springtrap. I would love to see a Springtrap, but I know it's going to be like super expensive because of all the detailing on that character. What theme is the Jack the Ripper from? That is from the 2019 theme, the SS Riptide. I have his little steering wheel, but it's in my attic right now, and that's just because a long time ago it, you know, broke pretty much. I'm pretty sure the Meg still works on it, but the steering wheel actually came off of the Meg itself, and it's been a nightmare to have to try and, you know, put that thing back on. So I just display him without it. What prop am I most excited to see? Honestly, besides a lot of the returning props, because I do think this is Spirit's best year for returning props, I'm gonna have to say the Owl Beast is the one I am most anticipated to see, because I love any kind of bird-related prop. I don't know why. I really enjoy, you know, creepy birds, and owls especially are probably my favorite type of bird. So to actually get what I'm hoping to be a giant owl beast of some kind, maybe it does Modus reskin of what a lot of people are saying, that would be really cool in my opinion. We can get some kind of just, you know, scary owl. Came up with a theory of how clowns could fit into the theme they're performing for money. Oh yeah, that does make some sense for sure. You definitely do see people like that in New York. What's my favorite Lowe's prop? I mean, that's kind of a tricky one. There isn't too many good ones this year from them. I'm gonna have to probably go with that like magician guy that jumps up. He kind of just seems like a very like steampunk-esque character to me. He could fit in a steampunk theme, and I'm kind of a sucker for steampunk as well. Just anything relating to that theme. Art is definitely gonna be in the theme because of the reference to him in the ISC in the subway. Yeah, for sure. Will definitely be in that theme. What do I think Trixie will be? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think it's gonna be some kind of clown for sure. I just feel like it's only fitting for that name. I don't know. It could really do a lot. I would love to see another prop that uses fog or like water to like shoot out of, some kind of like gun-esque weapon. I think that'd be really cool. Be very fitting of the name, kind of like a prankster-esque character. Let's see. You can't wait to get Pennywise. Oh yeah, that is going to be a crazy return if that actually does happen. Um, that prop has definitely, I feel like, almost gained popularity in a way. I think mainly just because of like how rare it is. A lot of people didn't get a chance to get it back then, because it was pretty rare back then too. Whenever they first released Pennywise, so this will be probably the final chance to get your hands on him. I think it's way darker. I think you'll be tied up to a stake, to a board with arrows stuck in him. I'm assuming you're talking about Bullseye. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of Spike though a little bit. What year did he release? Was it 2022 or something? That hanging zombie character. He wasn't super popular, but I feel like it was a cool concept. Mark my words, Albies will be the best reskin ever. I hope so. I really hope so. I was so excited for Desmodus whenever they kind of like announced his concept and name. Just because again, I love any kind of like animal props, but especially like birds and stuff. I know bats aren't birds, I know that, but it was just very exciting to get a prop like that. And then we saw him, and I was still a fan of him, but I wasn't the craziest about his like whole design. The way he looked in the face looked very cheap to me, very plasticky, and the mechanism was also awful on him. I've never seen a working Desmodus in person before. So I'm really hoping Owlbeast, if it is a reskin of Desmodus, which I kind of hope it's not because of the mechanism, that they do at least update the mech in some way, make it to where it won't break after like the third activation. How do I think Jack the Reaper will be put into this theme? In the first teaser we got with that subway that comes right at the camera, you can see Jack the Reaper's face where like the light would be of the subway, of the train. But I think we can honestly incorporate, or they can incorporate Jack kind of in a sense of how they did with the 2019 theme for sure, where he was sort of like, the captain of the boat. This one, he could be like the conductor of the train, I guess, he'll be like in the operation room of the train. But there's a whole lot of different ways that they can incorporate Jack, though. I think it'll definitely be something like that, though. Jack is sort of like the man in charge when it comes to the themes. He's front and center typically, so he'll probably be at the front of the train somehow. I think Bullseye will be a guy staked down to a board screaming, "Help me," with arrows in him. Possibly, yeah. I can kind of see him being more of a zombie than a guy. The thing with it being a guy screaming, "Help me," is that is a really dark concept for sure. I can definitely see a more professional company doing something like that because they don't really care how dark a prop is, they'll make it. Spirit Halloween has limits now, and even if they would have done it back then, I don't think they'll necessarily do a prop like that now with an actual living human screaming that. It's a cool concept, but I think Spirit will probably make it into a zombie if they are going that route. Do you think Albies will be a motion tracker? Wait, that would be really cool, actually. If the prop is like a tree of some kind, or just maybe not even a tree, but like, I don't know, just some kind of like limb of like a tree that you can hang somewhere, and then it has a giant owl on it, and he like turns his head watching you, like, oh, that would be awesome. That's actually probably the coolest concept for him I've heard, or theory of what it will look like. That's really cool. Let's see what else. What's up, Kaden? How you doing? Do you think Santa art will be a cool prop, and do you think it will be more expensive than the original one? Yes, I do think it'll be more expensive, and I think they will incorporate more like gore into this animatronic. They'll have more, I guess, like his chainsaw, I guess, might be with him. And I do think it'll be more expensive because they'll probably add some kind of weapon onto him, and because the Santa suit, I bet you, is going to be a bit, higher quality, more of an expensive sort of fabric than his original costume. So I do think it'll be more expensive for sure, but probably worth it. You know, the original Art the Clown was very fairly priced, so I can definitely see this one also being very fairly priced. What are the origins of your profile picture and where we see the pinkish skull with a black background? I kind of forgot, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest with you. I was just looking for like really cool skull designs, and I wasn't really too sure with like the kind of style that I wanted. I used to be a Goosebumps channel, you know, the famous book series by R.L. Stine. Um, I used to make constant Goosebump videos all the time, you know, on news and stuff like that. And then Goosebumps started kind of falling down. There wasn't a whole lot of news on it. It wasn't very popular anymore because this was around the time when the two movies came out, so it was pretty decently popular at the time. And my profile picture was always Slappy the Dummy. But I was starting to get more into Spirit Halloween. I had one video that I went to my local location and it kind of blew up for me at the time. So then I transitioned fully into Spirit Halloween and just Halloween content in general. And I wanted to change, you know, my style and my profile picture. Um, and for some reason, I don't know why, I just thought, you know, having like a skeleton, a skull was very iconic to Halloween. And it kind of told, you know, the audience that this is just like a Halloween channel, you know, in general, you know, all kind of spooky stuff. Um, and I just thought the colors of it were pretty cool. You know, they were pretty unique. There isn't too many haunters that have this like pinkish purple, you know. So that's basically it. I mean, there isn't too much behind it. I've considered actually, you know, getting one of my friends to draw me a more, I guess, authentic profile picture, but as of now, that's it, and I haven't changed it yet. What do you think Spirit Halloween's 5 most darkest animatronics are, and why do I think so? Well, Barnyard Butcher, of course, is very dark. I mean, it basically shows what happens seconds after this psychotic haunted scarecrow killed a farmer, basically. I mean, the farmer's head is still alive. It's still making noise, which is really disturbing, and it's an awesome concept for sure. Um, Let me think. Who else? Who else? Bloodthirsty Betty is a pretty dark one, honestly. I mean, it's a possessed little girl, and her jump scare is pretty gnarly, and her face is really creepy for sure. I think that's a pretty cool one. That's, you know, decently dark. What's her name? The Witch of like Stolen Souls or something with like that lantern. That's a pretty eerie one. Um, the what was his name? I'm starting to forget some of these older props names. The Reaper of the Stolen Souls, where he opens up his cloak and it has other souls in it. That's another pretty dark one. What am I at, like 4 now? Or have I just said 3? No, I've said 4. What would be another dark one? Trying to think of a more recent character. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I mean, honestly, in a sense, the concept of the Ringmaster is kind of dark from last year. The execution isn't very dark. Oh, of course, he's a very colorful, cartoonish character, but the concept of him is pretty dark. You know, it's like you're trading in your soul to get into the carnival. Let's see what else. So do we have here? I think Lantern Keeper will be something Lovecraftian, like a 6-foot version of Cthulhu. Okay, that's it. Lantern Keeper is another prop I'm super excited to see. I kind of hope, if you guys have seen the show, let me know, called Over the Garden Wall, and the character of the Beast, you know, this, you know, very like just Wendigo-esque character, very like shadowy, and he has this lantern with like a soul in it. I really hope that the Lantern Keeper is very similar to that character in a way. That would be awesome. I love that show, so to have a animatronic or character like the Beast would be really cool. But yeah, something Lovecraftian also would make a lot of sense too. Let's see. You hope Owl Beast will be a barn owl. Barn owls have a lot of creepy history, especially in Mexico. Yeah, I definitely think, you know, it could go that route. But I kind of more so see it being just more of like a traditional like Halloween owl, I guess. Kind of like vintage almost. Would be pretty neat. Seems like we have 28 people. Wow. A lot more than I was expecting just because I haven't done a live stream in like a year. So, yeah, but I mean, we have got a lot more people on the channel for sure since then. Do you think the props will be more expensive this year because of all the tariffs? Potentially, you know, it's kind of hard to say right now because, I mean, I made a community post on it, but Home Depot officially announced that they won't be raising their prices on anything besides a couple of stuff that isn't, you know, decorative related. So yeah, I mean, you know, Home Depot's not doing it, so Spirit might want to try and follow in their footsteps just because Home Depot is now the direct competition now that Party City's out of the way. So it would be smart for them to not raise them up too high. If the Owl Beast has empty eye sockets with LED lights in them, I will give him some shells to put on to look more like realistic eyes because an owl's eyes are the scariest part of their species. I do agree with that. I really hope it is not like how Desmodus was where it just has some LEDs. That would be horrible. Or I would just turn off the LEDs and just have like empty sockets, basically. That's also, you know, that's better than the LEDs. Do I think they'll have a Megan prop this year? Potentially. Well, no, actually, I don't think they're gonna have a Megan prop this year. They haven't announced it yet. I mean, who knows? I don't think they've announced all the props actually, so we could very well get a Megan prop. She's definitely popular enough, I feel like, for an animatronic to be made. You wish Goosebumps 3 was still made? I do as well. That would be really cool, and I really would wish that they would do something with Horrorland because it deserves something in mass media for sure. Besides the one episode that we got back in the 90s, which was not the best representation of that story, if I'm going to be honest. It was an enjoyable episode, you know, for the time, but a modern day tale of Horrorland would be amazing. It is weird that they prioritized restocking Michael Myers, Dark Princess, and Deadly Creeper over the ones from last year. Yeah, I could see why they prioritized Dark Princess. She was a really popular one, especially like over time, you know, her fandom grew especially. And those items weren't as expensive as Nibbles and Dan. Their boxes weren't big either. Oh, you're talking about the tariffs with them. Let's see. Well, being into Goosebumps and liking Barnard Butcher is like the Scarecrow walks at midnight. Yeah, although I kind of see like the looming straw man sort of being more of a character that to me resembles more of like a Goosebumps Scarecrow-esque in a way. I mean, R.L. Stine never had any monster necessarily kill anyone. They got close, but they didn't necessarily actually kill anyone. At least not like in the current story. There might have been some flashback scenes in some of the books where someone did die, but yeah. But I mean, Scarecrows are definitely a classic part of Goosebumps because of the Scarecrow walks at midnight, and I'm kind of surprised Stein hasn't made another Scarecrow book yet. You should really get on that because Scarecrows are really cool. Yeah, Reaper of Souls. That's the name. Thank you. You hope we get a flashback of Bloodthirsty Betty. That'd be pretty cool. She's definitely a popular one. I think she would be more popular now, so if they released her. Oh yeah, the Blackheart is a very dark character for sure. How did I miss that? I literally have him in the other room. Can't believe I actually forgot about him. Let's see what else. Do you think Two-Face Teddy will be better than Barnaby the Bear? I do, personally, I do. I did not like Barnaby very much at all. I thought he was very boring, not scary. You know, he could work in so many other ways besides just being a Halloween animatronic, which is really not what we're, you know, wanting as haunters, you know? We want something that people look at and they're like, oh, that is terrifying. You know what I mean? I really hope Two-Face Teddy is like that. Even though I'm not super keen on like the toy-esque animatronics, I do hope that there, you know, is something scary about him. Personally, the best toy or doll related animatronic I think we've gotten is Creepy Rising Doll and Darling Dolly. Those two things both resemble toys in a sense, but they're very like just messed up looking. Like, they're awesome. I really hope to get my hands on at least Creepy Rising Doll one day. I love the Barnard Butcher because he's a scarecrow and I love scarecrows and he is unique, and I love when animatronics have unique assets to them. Like, for example, Dan had Jim in his bucket. So a few months back, there was a leaked photo of the tag for Barnard Butcher that he might be coming back. Do y'all think he's actually coming back or not? Because we haven't heard anything on him since then coming back. But I don't think it's too much of a stretch at this point, now that Pumpkin Nester's coming back, you know? I would feel like they would also release Barnard at this point too. But we do have a lot of returning props already, so maybe they're just cutting the line here. Maybe they're saving him for next year. You have a strange theory that Two-Faced Teddy is human. I've seen a lot of concept art for sure that Two-Faced Teddy will be a human character, maybe holding a teddy bear or something. You know, just because his name is Teddy doesn't mean that he's going to be a bear necessarily, unlike Barnaby, where bear was in the name. The shipment code was Two-Face Bobby. That's interesting. Maybe he is a human. I think actually, I do think I did hear about that actually, that his code was more of like a human name. I guess we'll find out here pretty soon what he is, hopefully. What do I think the actual darkest animatronic they've ever made? And also why the darkest professional animatronic? The darkest professional animatronic is a really hard one to think about. I mean, there's so many professional animatronics that really go in that direction. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back on that one. If you guys have any, you know, possible thoughts on what you think could be the darkest animatronic professional, let me know in the comments below. As far as Spirit goes, what their darkest prop could be, I'm still probably gonna say Barnard Butcher, to be honest. Call me, you know, boring for saying that, or bland, because I know everyone always says that, but you know, it's the truth. He's a very dark animatronic. Why do I think Elbeast will be a reskin of Desmodus? A lot of people have been saying it, and it kind of makes sense. You know, it's the closest concept to Desmodus that we've had in a while. The only reason why I don't think it'll be a reskin is because of the name Owl Beast is really interesting. It makes it seem like it's going to be a regular owl, but the word beast kind of just adds a whole new meaning to the character. You know, it could be just a complete giant owl, or it could be like a shapeshifter of some kind, like shapeshift messed up looking owl would be also pretty gnarly. Oh, Home Depot did raise their prices. Dang, 400. Yeah. That's why I'm not spending my money on any of the 12 to 15 footers. I was tempted to the past few years to spend money on them, but I just can't. Although I did get the Headless Horseman, which is around the same price, but it's whatever. We don't talk about that. Oh, you think Two-Face said he might be a clown? Possibly, possibly. He does kind of have more of a light-hearted name, I guess, in a way. You think Teddy will be a bear mascot animatronic like FNAF, I'm assuming? That'll be very interesting if that is the route they go with it. Personally, I don't think that's going to be what they do with him. It would be cool, but I feel like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but they're coming out with a Five Nights at Freddy's door cover with Bonnie on it, I'm pretty sure. So they're definitely getting more into the range of doing FNAF items, and I think they're very close to doing a FNAF animatronic. They're probably having to do something else with like the licensing fee or something before they can actually get to that point, but I think they're very close to it. So to actually kind of like release a sort of rip-off character now would be, you know, not the best decision on their end, I feel like. You wish we would get a Goosebump animatronic. That'd be really cool. Trick or Treat Studios, though, is coming out with some cool stuff for sure. I just purchased some of their action figures that they released at Walmart. Those things are awesome. But they're coming out with that Slappy prop in December, which I plan to get. It's actually a full-on ventriloquist dummy. It's not just a prop. It's a working dummy, which is really cool. But I really hope to see some animatronics of some kind. I mean, it's probably going to be Slappy, you know. But a prop of the Haunted Mask would be pretty cool, too, maybe. That'd be a really cool one to do. Megan 2.0 looks super duper bad, to be honest. I haven't really been keeping up with Megan. I was never the biggest Megan fan. in general. I'm not the biggest fan of her design, honestly. Like whenever it comes to like creepy doll or robot films, you know, I'm more into like the the monster, like the doll looking vintage, and Megan just is very futuristic, so it's not very scary in my opinion. I feel like the main reason that movie's popular is just because of the dance scene. Every single spirit within a 30-mile radius of me only got one dark princess last year, and every single one of them used her as the display. Yeah, there wasn't too many dark princesses for sure. I think my closest store didn't even get her, I don't think. Or maybe they did, but she sold out immediately. And then the other one that's pretty close to me, they had her for the display. Oh, Chin Up Zombie. I forgot about him. He is a very dark animatronic, something you would not see nowadays for sure. As Pixelated Pumpkin said, Barnaby would have looked so much cooler if he looked like the Fear Valley Wolf from Home Depot. He would have definitely 100%. I was really hoping that that is kind of the route they were going to go with Barnaby. But just based off the name, you could just tell that he was going to be more of like a kid-friendly character, I guess. Anytime Spirit throws a childish name, or not childish necessarily, but just a name of some kind on a concept that sounds cool, you already know it's going to be very limited in what the detail is. The Fear Valley Wolf is fantastic. I did not get it last year, but I would love to get it this year. Honestly, I'm not planning on getting too many props from Home Depot this year. Last year, I bought like a good bit of the lineup for sure, and that's where most of my money went last year. This year, I'm only planning on probably getting that like gold miner gravedigger character. I call him the gold miner just because in his phrase he mentioned something about hunting for gold, and then you know, he just to me he looks more like a gold miner for sure, and he has like the buckle too, so he's more of like a Western-esque character. Um, that's the only one I'm planning on getting that's new. I'm planning on also getting the Boogeyman from 2023, Captain Cuts, and the Fear Valley Wolf if they do return, which I'm pretty sure Captain Cuts and Fear Valley Wolf are going to return, so I do plan on getting those. The Boogeyman, I'm hoping he returns. I know he's returning in like the UK or something. I hope he returns in America. I'm sure he will. He's a really popular one. If you guys think he's gonna return, let me know down in the comments below. I really hope he does, because the theme I'm doing for my haunt this year is themed around like dreams and stuff. Like it's like what would it look like if you're inside of a dream? So to have a character like the Boogeyman in there, like in a long hallway, would be perfect. I would love to add him to the haunt. Do you think Spirit will end up releasing their lineup on July 3rd? I really hope they do. That would be awesome because that is my birthday, so that'd be like the ultimate, you know, birthday gift to have the lineup released then. I know a lot of people are speculating that just because it's a week after what we initially thought, but personally, I don't think the theory has a very big structural base on it, so I can't really see it happening, unfortunately. You wish the Scarecrow from Batman was made into an animatronic. Yeah, he is my favorite Batman villain for sure. It would be really cool if they, you know, had his character as animatronic and then he was holding some kind of like gas tank or something and he would like twist it and then fog would shoot out of it, like green fog or something. That would be really cool. All you know is that you're going to be in debt by the end of the year. Yeah, I feel you, honestly. I've already spent a lot of money on my haunt as is because I'm making an entire facade for it. So I'll explain more in a later video, which I do plan on releasing here pretty soon. But this haunt that I'm doing is like the next level up from like a home haunt, and it's kind of like in between a home haunt and a commercial haunt basically. I am technically kind of getting paid for it once it opens up. But I am doing it for a school, and so it's going to be hosted inside the school for the entire month of October. It's going to be open every Friday and possibly on Thursdays for like football games. So whenever the football games are going on, the people have the opportunity to buy a ticket and go to my haunted house basically. And we're being sponsored by, you know, a specific group or organization within the school too, so that's very exciting. Also, we get to use some of their materials for like lighting effects and stuff. So it is kind of like the next step up for me, which is really exciting. So I want to go all out with it, make it as professional as I can, which is why I'm doing this giant like 20-foot tall facade of this like manor. Do I think the straw man is going to return? It would be cool if he does. I don't think so personally, but it would definitely be cool if he does. Do you think the season in general will be good despite everything that has happened? Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think once the stores open up, everyone's gonna forget about waiting this long for the lineup. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're all gonna be distracted from hopefully how cool the lineup actually is. That we're just not gonna remember all of this stuff. We're gonna look past it. I'm going to scream if Grave Danger is another Tombstone tear with cheap fabric. Dude, I know. I really hope it's not. I don't think it will be, you know, but every lineup always has that one bad animatronic. And for some reason, I feel like Grave Danger is going to be that. Watch it be something cool, though, like Owl Beast. That's like the horrible one. That would suck. I would hate that. The Possessed Wall Hanger, you think? Possibly, yeah. Actually, that is a very, very good contender in the darkest animatronic. I might make a video on that, to be honest. Like later on in the season, whenever we're past all this speculation and stuff, like what is the darkest prop from Spirit. Eaten Alive is a really dark prop, so is Nightmare Harvester. Eaten Alive is very scary for sure. Nightmare Harvester is a little cartoonish in my opinion, but I love that animatronic still. Would love to get him if he did return, which I don't know what happened to that whole theory of him returning or not. Hopefully he still does. We'll see though. Did I see the new Stucky and Bud leak? Yeah, there was a name found. Got Candy Clown. You think that's Trick or Treat Pete? It could definitely be one of the, yeah, Trick or Treat Pete. Yeah, it definitely could be that. I hope it's not. I hope Trick or Treat Pete is very similar to that Party City Ghost Boy that we got a few years back. You know, I just feel like we need to stay away from clowns. July birthday mention, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate all the happy early birthdays. I might upload a video or something on my actual birthday, depending on, you know, if something interesting happens. Hopefully something does happen on my birthday. That would be awesome. A couple years back, on 2020, not a couple years, like 5 years ago, they released Flesh Eating Zombie, his return on my birthday, which was very exciting. Honestly, I think you could see Chin Up Zombie again because it's not like he's a guy. I think, right, he's a zombie with the name. Yeah, I mean, he is a zombie, technically. He isn't like a tortured human or anything like that. So possibly, you know, something like an online prop, like how, what's his name? The Spike, the zombie Spike from 2022. He could be an online prop, and I think he'd be a very popular one. But I still think he's a little too dark to put in stores just because of the whole news thing. How's it going, that crazy Halloween man? How you doing tonight? We are currently sitting at almost an hour of this live stream. It has gone by pretty fast. I should get Sweet Dreams Clown. I've considered that one, honestly. The only thing is this haunt doesn't exactly involve like any theme that I feel like a clown would fit in. There is one room in particular, and I guess I'll spoil it now because I don't really care if you guys know. It's only if the audience doesn't know what is inside. There's one specific room that is kind of split into two rooms in a way. It's a very interesting concept where the first room you walk into of this, you know, split room is a child's bedroom. And this room is kind of centered around what we dream up whenever we're kids, like the nightmares that we have whenever we're at our younger ages of life. And then the very next room you go into is like an office, like very like back rooms, liminal space, because this haunt takes inspiration directly from like liminal space and like just like those kind of like eerie, you know, I think they're called like Dream Corp like photos and videos and stuff, like just almost like found footage analog horror mixed in with some like liminal space themes. That's what this whole haunt is kind of taking inspiration from. So the next room you walk into is like this office space basically, and it kind of focuses more on like the anxiety and stress and fears and nightmares of an adult, you know, life. So it's a very like psychological kind of themed thing, but the child's room could very well have Sweet Dreams in it. I think he would be very fitting for that room. What do I think Big Lots is going to come out with? Hopefully a statement saying that they're, you know, going to be doing anything this year. Because, I mean, I know that they're kind of returning, but we don't really know what they're doing just yet for Halloween, if they're doing anything at all, which I don't think they're going to be doing anything big just yet. Let's wait a few years, then they'll probably come back. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Big Lots has a budget for at least anything compared to what they did last year, which was pretty cool. Um, we'll see. We'll see. What's up, Ringmaster? How you doing? Imagine Spirit drops midstream. I was kind of thinking that, honestly, like before I started this, like imagine if they do something. But typically they always drop something in the morning. However, there have been leaks in like past years, like 22, I think 2022, whenever I was doing a live stream and I believe like the theme got leaked, which by the way, we haven't seen any theme leaks yet. And it's almost the end of June. I'm pretty sure last year we've already kind of seen some of the theme in June. So it would be very exciting, you know, if we do get to see something with the theme. I'm doing pretty good, that crazy Halloween man. Thanks for asking. Excited to finally be doing another live stream again for sure. It was false information. That was very rude of them to say that about you. Oh. A lot of haunter drama that I'm not a part of, thankfully. Big Lots is not the old Big Lots. It's now just a clothing store. Really, I haven't heard anything on what Big Lots is actually going to be selling anymore. I mean, they were kind of like, I guess, like the last of what, I guess, like a Kmart would have been or something. What time is it for me? It is currently 10:19. What about y'all? What is the time for y'all currently? I've never done an all-nighter on a live stream before. I typically only do like an hour to 2 hour live streams. As the summer kind of goes, as we get deeper into the summer, I typically do more constant live streams, like one every other day. I might do a live stream or something, just because, we all don't have school the next day. So you guys are probably more able to stay up. Imagine if the teaser drops at 11:59. That would be, I don't know. I don't think I could see that happening. I'm just happy they're not doing like a timer like how they've done in the past. I hated the timer so much. It never worked. Never worked at all. What prop am I most excited for? Owl Beast is definitely one I've mentioned on this live stream quite a bit already. Very excited to see what they do with that animatronic. I love any kind of animal related animatronic, and I just think doing an owl, very iconic to Halloween, could be very, very cool. Or the Lantern Keeper is another one I'm really excited for. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be a lot like the Cremator from last year, but which is with a lantern. I kind of hope it's not, but at the same time, I still can, visualize a very like shadowy-esque character, which wouldn't be a horrible thing. The Cremator was, pretty cool, I guess. 10:20 for you. Yeah, pretty close. 11:19 for James, if you're a Halloween fan. Wow. How long do you plan on staying up, dude? What do I think about the Lantern Keeper name? I think the name is kind of, generic, but the concept could be cool for sure. I'm excited to see what they do with him. Again, like I mentioned, I really hope it's very reminiscent of the Beast character from Over the Garden Wall, how he always carried that lantern with him. Or it wasn't necessarily him that carried it, it was more of the woodsman, but he was, kind of like the guardian of the lantern in a sense. Yeah, a few years back, I think 2021 they had it, 22 they also had it, and I think that's whenever they stopped after that. They had a timer for their teasers, or not, it wasn't for the teasers, it was for the full drop of the lineup. And they had different like codes that like would send various people to the timer, and then that's how like the timer would kind of get more publicly shown. But the timer never worked. The lineup would always be revealed early, or certain videos would get leaked early, and so the timer was kind of pointless at a certain point. And Spirit, I guess, realized that after the second year, which was 2022. Which, speaking of which, I plan on doing a video of revisiting 2022's teasers and like that whole fumble of a year, basically, of what the hype built was for. No one take my idea, but I'm planning on doing a video like that where I just kind of revisit like what in the world was 2022, because that, just looking back on it, it's pretty funny just to kind of think about how badly they kind of fumbled that. You're 100% getting the sorry, Dagger Mike doll. I don't know where I got Mr. Dark from. Dagger Mike doll. However, I wish they did a different clown like Wacky Mo or Silent and Deadly. A Silent and Deadly doll would be really cool. His design could fit into like a vintage doll. I feel like Wacky Mo would be a cool one too for sure, but I feel like Silent and Deadly could fit better into a doll form. Will Headcase Harry be a clown or a zombie? In my opinion, he'll be a zombie human. I think he's going to be a zombie or a human too. I don't think that name fits with a clown, but who knows? It's crazy that we get more animatronics that fit with the carnival theme than last year. If you're wondering how I got this information, it's because my friend who works at the flagship. Ooh, I hope that's not true. I mean, if your friend really does work at flagship, then who knows? But, if that is the case, then that is definitely weird. I mean, Carnival was more focused on like other circus characters besides clowns, so I don't know. I just sick and tired of clowns. We all are. Is the graveyard shift like the pages? Is it still around? Like, can you actually still look it up? I didn't think that it was still there. All jokes aside, a Mr. Dark doll would go hard. Kinda, yeah. That'd be pretty cool. What if they like did Jack in the Boxes like Spirit did, and like the character was like an animatronic that would pop out or something, and one of them was Mr. Dark? That would be a perfect fit for like a Jack in the Box, like little gimmicky little knickknack or something. That'd be pretty cool. And then they can like do one of Fright in the Box too, of course. Based on the shipping label, Headcase Harry will be more of a phantom type character. Does the shipping label really give away that much? Never really thought about that before. Imagine if we get a young Mr. Dark. I've heard that before. I really hope we don't ever do that. I hope we're retiring that whole concept. You have a strong feeling that we were about to witness history. I think they might just pull 2023 and drop at 11:59. We'll see. Possibly. That would be really exciting if they do that, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very fun theory, I guess, to think about. You checked a few months ago and the page was still up. Wow, I kind of want to go back and see that. Man, that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I remember back in 2021 whenever they revealed the Graveyard Shift teaser, and I, for some reason, thought that meant we were going to get some kind of cemetery theme, even though the factory was already sort of like announced in a way. Which, looking back on it, I want to hear your opinions on this, everyone. Where do y'all rank the factory theme at from like the modern themes of Spirit? I love steampunk stuff. I did a whole escape room a few months back. Like I built an escape room and it was themed to like a clock factory, very steampunk-esque. So I personally love the factory. I think it was really, really well done, but I haven't heard a lot of people talk about the factory theme like they do with other themes. If they do, you all might as well call me the new misfortune teller for saying that earlier. Yeah. Remember how badly I crashed out when I saw the 2022 lineup and how disappointed I was. Same, honestly. I mean, I didn't, crash out or anything, but I just wasn't happy with it. And with how much they were like teasing this lineup too. And just, they it seemed like they tried to put an effort into the sort of story behind the laboratory. And the teasers and the theme itself make no sense to me, because the teasers made the laboratory look like, something, a bit more newer than what the actual theme was. The theme looked more like a Frankenstein's tower-esque laboratory, at least the front theme did. I just feel like the videos didn't really match well with the actual ISC. It's not a big deal, really. I mean, it's just a little fun teaser that they try to put together. It was very interesting, though. Kind of enjoyed the 2021 year. I rank it from 2019 to 2024. It's probably in second to last place. Yeah, I can definitely see that. The second to worst one, honestly, but the worst one of recent time was 2020 theme, but it's understandable because there was in that middle global. Yeah, 2020 theme was gonna be pretty cool, from all the other concept art we've seen that they couldn't, do obviously. Um, I can see why people don't really care for the 2021 theme that much, though. Honestly, I mean, it wasn't like the most detailed or scariest theme of all. It didn't really incorporate the craziest walkthrough. It's a very mixed theme for a lot of people. I think it would have been cool if they had the gears moving like how they originally planned to, but I do think that the newer themes that they produced for the past couple years are better for sure from 23 or even 22. 22 was a really good theme. The animatronics sucked, but 22's theme was amazing. 22 up until now, I feel like all these themes have been pretty consistent. Well, we haven't seen 25 yet, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. I do think that, yeah, those themes are better than 21, but 21 just personally is one of my favorites. My friend also told me that they have had some trouble deciding the release date for the animatronic revival this year. They did settle with something, but my friend didn't tell me. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've been saying in some of my videos, was like, I'm sure Spirit Halloween has, dates chosen. They have specific dates when they're going to release a teaser and the full lineup and stuff. So I don't understand why people are really harassing them to like reveal the lineup, because they're not just going to do, like, they're not just going to like wake up one morning and be like, hey, let's reveal the lineup today. They already have these things set out. I'm not making videos because I want Spirit to see it and be like, oh, we need to release the lineup already. I'm making videos just to speculate on it. What do we think it's going to be? Just because it's fun to theorize. Some info from an insider 2 months ago that talks to one of my friends. He said there are Easter eggs in the ISC in the year itself, like the tagline spray painted onto. Oh yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, the Crouchy was here thing. I think the half lava and half acid tiles in the factory theme prototype would have been fun if they kept it. Yeah, like the green and the orange. Is that what you're talking about? That would have been pretty cool. The farm theme from 2018 and the carnival from last year and the cemetery from 23. The 2018 theme is so nostalgic to me. And it's interesting because like I've been going to Spirit for so many years prior than 2018. I've been going since 2012, since the last farm theme before 2018. So, I don't know why it's so nostalgic to me. I guess just because that's what the year I really got into Spirit. That's whenever I started buying props and animatronics from them more consistently. So that could definitely be why. All right, I'll see you around, Ringmaster. We'll be doing more live streams hopefully here pretty soon. Yeah, the 2019 animatronics and ISC was really good. Both were fantastic. I do think the 2019 ISC actually might be my favorite of all time, though, if I'm being honest with you. It's just such a good theme. I know it got some hate back then, but I love that theme. Your favorite theme is the 2016 Clock Tower, not because of nostalgia, but because it was super Halloween-y. We need themes like that. With all the fallen leaves and dead trees and orange colors again. See, I was looking at that theme a while ago, like the design for it. And it was really just well done, that theme was. I heard that the 2017 theme was supposed to go in 2016. It was supposed to, be the theme for 2016, but then the Clock Tower came in and they, for some reason, pushed it to 2017. Don't know why that is. But it's interesting that the Clock Tower was almost like a last-minute theme, but it was really well done. And it was the tallest theme also. It was such a tall, intimidating theme. And I really wish that they would start doing more themes like that again, where they start going vertical with them instead of horizontal. I mean, horizontal, like the long themes are really cool too, of course, but having taller themes is just really cool. One last thing they say is that people should not get their hype up for grave danger. It's a Tombstone Terror situation, but this was concept art when I first met. Oh, yeah. It's something with those tombstone, you know, graveyard props. They just never really hit the mark. It's so hard to decide what theme is my favorite because there were so many good ones, but also a lot of bad ones. Yeah, I agree there. There were some interesting ones for sure. I think the late 2010s, no, not the late 2010s, like mid 2010s had some mediocre themes, especially like mediocre front themes for sure. But the back themes those years were like fantastic, which is really interesting. It's like they just kept all their cool details for the back themes. I love the 2011 Zombie Wasteland because it was a unique concept with cool props. Yeah, see, I started going in 2012. I wish I could have gone in 2011 and seen that theme in person. I probably would have been terrified because I was a bit younger then. Um, but just seeing videos and like photos of that theme, it just was so well done. Really wish I could, you know, have been there to see it. How's it going, Reaper Hollows? Unfortunately, I'm probably going to end this live here pretty soon. Just because my battery on my phone's about to die. I'm recording this on my phone. Or doing the stream on my phone tonight. So, you know, I didn't really come the most prepared for this one. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to go this far into the stream, though, if I'm being honest. I'll stick around for a few more minutes, though, for sure. I can't wait to see Owlbeast in person. I hope he's like Desmodus with an updated mechanism, because every time I saw one, yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, I agree there. It would be really cool if he was a reskin. I think having a, you know, I don't have too many jump scare props, if I'm being honest with you, so I think adding a new one to the collection would be pretty cool, especially one that would fit in with the cemetery theme that I do out in my yard. And an owl for sure can fit in with a cemetery or a farm or a forest or whatever you want it at. Some of my other favorites are Area 31, the Acre Farms, 2012 Barn, and Zombie Wasteland. Yeah, those are all classic for sure. I feel like next year, 2026, Spirit Halloween is going to do another farm theme. I don't know why, but that's the kind of vibe that I'm getting. Either a farm theme or another alien theme. It's going to be one of the two. Those are the theories I'm placing out right now. I'll do more in-depth videos on what I think it's actually going to be like, you know, later on in the season whenever 2025 is past us. But I do think it's going to be some kind of farm or alien theme. That's just what I'm thinking. You know, they're seeming to kind of be at a stage now where they're sort of returning themes from the past, but just in a more updated, modernized manner. So we could definitely see a return for a farm theme. I think it's been enough time since 2018 to do one. There's a new audience now for Spirit, but I also think an alien theme would be really cool. Yeah, Desmodus was actually a pretty scary one. I think it was just like how loud the mechanism was that really got people jumping. I wish we had gotten the plane crash theme where the plane's windows are holograms. Oh, that would have been pretty cool. I know the jungle or the island was supposed to have a plane in it. Thoughts on the Switch 2? I have not really been paying too much attention to all that news, to be honest. I'm not the biggest like video game person necessarily, but I do. There's a decent bit of games coming out for the Switch 2 that do look decently interesting to me though. Don't remember the exact names of all of them, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. How much weight do you need to hold down the Lowe's pneumatic clown? I have no idea. I've never even seen those in person. Those never got delivered to my stores. They just told me the concept bullseye was really dark, like the 2008 dark, but they changed it, but it's still gonna be cool. I hope so. I really hope so. The question is just what kind of character is Bullseye, you know? Like, what is he gonna be? A clown, a zombie? I can see it being more of a zombie. Didn't really think too much of it until just now that he could definitely be a zombie. I feel like there's at least hope for Barnard Butcher since they are finally bringing back Silent and Deadly and Pumpkin Esther, and they were highly requested. Agreed. I can definitely see him returning next year, though, Barnard Butcher. Or maybe being like the November release for this year. You know, it is a Scarecrow after all, so it, you know, very fitting for fall. They always have like that November release. I feel like Barnard Butcher could definitely be that animatronic. Because sometimes it is a returning prop that they do return, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Lowe's year's absolute buns make Spirit 2022 look peak. Yeah, honestly. I think Los 2022 is perhaps the worst lineup we have maybe ever seen, at least in this day and age whenever the companies are really striving to compete against each other now. Because, like, back then, like 2018 and, before that, Lowe's and Home Depot weren't really in the mix of Halloween at all. I mean, they had their, you know, pack animatronics, but there were nothing crazy like they are now. I believe Bullseye will hopefully be a shotgun blast zombie like prop with a bow and arrow and good animation, most likely a clown. We haven't revisited that in a long while. We haven't, very like interactive animatronics. And I think it could just be because they're a little bit glitchy in some cases. I mean, the last interactive prop we got was Nibbles, and if you can even consider that really. And he was a little glitchy in some cases, especially in the dark. You think Pumpkin Ester's going to be the November? It could be. He definitely could be. I personally think he's going to be an inbox only prop in stores. I can see him being released like this month, or July, I guess, next month, technically. Was Bullseye part of the Friday 13th teaser or what? Yeah, he was part of the Friday the 13th teaser. If there was like a scene where there was like a big like tunnel in the sewer, and there was graffiti or something like on the wall. One of them was the fire demon, and the other one was Bullseye, and it had the actual like Bullseye symbol on it. When do I think Spirit will drop the teaser? I can very well see it being next week, personally. I mean, I think it has to be sometime soon, The fans are getting desperate for sure, and Spirit is listening, and I think they know that. But, like I said, Spirit probably has their date set for whenever they're going to do it. Favorite animatronic from 2017? That is a tough one. I love the Limb Ripper, but I don't know if you would necessarily count that because he was a return from 2012. But he is always one of my favorites. I wish I could have got my hands on him back then, but I wasn't really collecting props back then that much. Towering Clown, of course, is iconic, but I'm not really much of a clown guy. The Hanging Fiend was really cool. Like a little bit of a generic concept, but I like the voice and character of that animatronic. We should end at midnight. I don't think my battery's gonna make it that long, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It's 10:40 where I'm at currently. It's not gonna make it. Baphomet from 2021 was pretty underrated in my opinion. They should do more demons like him with the ram skull. Yeah, that was honestly a pretty, gnarly animatronic. I'm surprised they even put him in stores, to be honest. I love the audio on that guy with like the tribal drums in the background. So unique. Really, really cool. And I like that he wasn't red either. He was, very dark character. I mean, I'll be ending the stream soon, but like not right now. We're at 20 people now. I kind of dipped down a little bit, but I don't know if some people returned or we got some new people here. If you're new to the stream, welcome. Unfortunately, I won't be staying on for much longer, but we can still chat for a little bit for sure. It's been a while. My favorite animatronic, it's changed throughout the years for sure. I mean, I love props like the Looming Strawman just because that was like my first real animatronic, I guess, of like the modern age, if you can even call it modern anymore. But that's not my favorite prop. It was back then for a long time. I love, again, props like Lord Raven, Blackheart, very like skeletal, Phantom-esque characters are really cool. My favorite animatronic in general, not from Spear Halloween in particular, in general is the Leatherface from Party City from 2023. That is a fantastic animatronic, so well done. And now that Party City's closed and it's gonna be even harder to find him, that prop means a lot more to me now. Also because, you know, I am a resident of Texas. You know, I've lived in Texas all my life. This year, I plan on doing a Texas themed display for my house because I won't be actually doing a hunt at my house anymore. That's going to a school now. But the display, I do plan on, you know, having a very Texas Southern themed, and he's gonna go perfect in that. I didn't use him last year. I planned to, but I just didn't have time to get him out of my storage unit. But the Leatherface animatronic is fantastic, perfect in my opinion. The most nostalgic to you would be the Swinging Swamp Hack. Yeah, that is actually a pretty nostalgic one to me as well. That was one that I just really remember seeing. I remember coming home from school one day, knowing that Spirit was going to open that afternoon, being really excited to go for the first time that season. And she was the first prop I saw. They had her like in a little side display. It was really interesting. She wasn't actually in her typical spot in the swamp, but she was a really cool animatronic. The first time going to Spirit Halloween was in 2019, an inflatable Stay Puft costume, the Reaper door knocker, and a Ghostbusters pin, which he still use every school year. I got the Reaper door knocker on the sale in 2020, I think the November sale. It's a really cool door knocker for sure. 2019 is a great year to get introduced to Spirit, though. I mean, that's typically what a lot of people would say was like at their peak because of the big walkthrough they had in the back. Will I be doing it live tomorrow? Probably not. No, fortunately not. I will probably be doing a live, maybe not next week, to be honest. I'm gonna be pretty busy. Maybe in the next couple weeks, I'll be doing another live again. If we get news, if we get any big news or like the lineup drops for some reason, or if Home Depot announces anything huge, then I'll probably do a live the night of something big like that so we can talk more about that kind of stuff. But yeah. You guys are asking to be mods. I don't think I actually have any. I typically don't have any big drama or heat going on in, you know, my live streams. Most of you guys are pretty chill most of the time. I don't really ever feel like I need one, but I'll think about it for the next stream for sure if you guys come back for the next stream. I'm about to end this stream anyways, so it's kind of a missed opportunity that they're not returning Smoldering Zombie this year. I feel like he's pretty popular in this. Oh, dude, I would love for them to return Smoldering Zombie. He is probably my favorite zombie prop, honestly, of all time. I've always liked him. Never got him for some reason. But, you know, if they return him, I'm for sure getting him. What prop would I rather see return out of Johnny Punk or Young Crouchy? Johnny Punk, to be honest, because I feel like he's customizable, you know? You can do a lot with the base of that character that you really can't with Young Crouchy. Michael Myers is a really cool first animatronic to get for sure. Classic. Has my local at home put out their stuff yet? They put up some stuff, and I was gonna make a video on that, but it wasn't enough for me to really record anything. Same with Michael's. I went to Michael's today to see what they had, and there really wasn't. I mean, they had like the boxes for their Lemax stuff, and they had all their other decorations, but I really want to see their Lemax stuff in action. Just because I love the lineup this year for the Lemax stuff. I probably won't get any because I just don't collect Lemax, but I might be tempted to actually get a couple. I don't know. We'll see. They're pretty expensive though. But I'm going to go back in the next few days, hopefully, and we'll see if they have anything. Yeah, all right, guys. Looks like we are about to hit 80 minutes, and I think this would probably be a good time to end the stream. I'll answer a couple last minute questions. But yeah. What I think is the best animatronic, Mr. Dark or Death Stalker? I'm gonna go with Death Stalker just because I have him and I've used him. He broke on me, so I'm gonna have to get a new part for him. Like he just doesn't turn on at all anymore. But I used him as a jump scare prop in my escape room because I also did a space themed escape room where they're like stuck like in a space shuttle, and one of the scenes has it where like all the lights go off because they like did something wrong, like the team did, and a secret door opened up, and I kind of like pushed the alien in there, and like there was like all these sirens going off. It was like an alien break-in basically. Such a cool, fun scene. We got it all on recording. He's just such a fun animatronic to work with, really. Oh, you like the Reaper in the background? Yeah, he's from 2019. My first ever display that I've bought from Spirit, and I think my only, to be honest. I might get some more from this year because I love the subway theme. I haven't really talked much on that just because we haven't seen it in person yet, but the subway theme is really cool in my opinion. I'm your favorite haunter? Oh, thank you. I don't really do a whole lot of stuff compared to other haunters, I feel like, but, you know, it means a lot to me for sure. What did I get the first time I went to Spirit Halloween? The first time was in 2012, and I mean, I just got some costumes. I didn't collect animatronics back then. Just like a ghost costume or something. 2018 was whenever I really started collecting animatronics, and I got the Looming Strawman as my first one. Oh man, there seems to be a decent amount of people just now joining. What's up, LJ Hans? How you doing, man? Liam, this Halloween guy, how's it going? It sucks because I'm about to end the stream now, like in the next couple minutes, but I will be doing a stream very, very soon though. Again, you know, like I said, I'm gonna be a bit more consistent with this. I'll let you guys know ahead of time whenever I start doing this stuff. Today was more of just like a test getting back into it. Has any local Spirit Halloweens popped in my area yet? Not as far as I'm aware. I've checked around and I haven't seen any go back into their old locations, so I'm kind of thinking maybe they moved locations, but yeah, I haven't seen any so far. I have 2 in my area. Well, I have 3. I have 3 Spirit Halloweens that are each like 10 minutes away from me, which is awesome to have. And so far, the 2 that are the closest haven't put up any signs yet. But I'm gonna go check, you know, the one that's like a little bit farther from me, that's still like 10 minutes away from me. That one typically opens up first. So I'm gonna go check that one and see what's up with that one. See you, Spirit Halloween, Roblox. You have a good night, bro. Yeah, the Spirit Store locator doesn't drop until pretty late in the game, which kind of sucks. We have to kind of do the digging ourselves, to be honest. Which isn't, you know, a horrible thing. It's kind of fun to do that. I'm just excited to see what the themes look like, really. I can be patient for my store to open. Especially if Home Depot drops their stuff, like here in the next few weeks. That'll contain my excitement, for sure. I'm gonna assume that the stores are gonna open up on August 3rd, like how they typically do, I feel like. All right, guys, I think now is a good time to probably end the stream. I really appreciate all of you guys for coming. It was a pretty decent turnout compared to, you know, past streams or what I thought we were gonna get. I will be doing, you know, more streams here pretty soon, like I mentioned. Yeah, this was really fun. I, again, appreciate y'all all for coming. Hopefully we get a lineup drop here pretty soon, and I'll definitely be doing a stream for that as well. But as of now, guys, you have a good night. And thanks for coming.